Hello students, I am Kavita Taneja from Department of Computer Science and Applications, Punjab University, Chandigarh, and today we are going to discuss a very important topic which is software development process models. As we are familiar till now that software is developed in a phased manner and the process is called software development life cycle. Now in this particular presentation, we will get familiar with various process models that are being used while developing software. Each development organization has its own working process and it evolves for how it gets software development done. So a software development process model, or you may simply call it software lifecycle model, is the process by which an organization develops a software. So today we will be discussing major software development process models, and in each process model you will find that projects are typically broken into phases and there are varying criteria for entering or exiting each phase. So the major software development process models that we will be discussing today are four. They are waterfall process model, prototype process model, evolutionary process model, and lastly the spiral process model. So each process model will have its own set of advantages and limitations and a different application which will be suited to have waterfall model, but in similar application we might find that the spiral model is expensive. On the contrary, we will find a particular application in which waterfall model proves to be a failure but evolutionary model is effective. So in detail we will study each model. So firstly we will start with the waterfall process model. It is a linear ordering. It implies that each phase should have some output which will act as an input to the next phase. So linearly all the phases are adjusted one after the other in a sequential manner. The output must be validated or certified and then it should be fed as an input to the next phase. Outputs of earlier phases are known as work products. Common outputs of a waterfall model are software requirement specification, project plan, design documents, test plan and reports, final code, supporting documents, etc. So as the name is suggesting waterfall, as you can see it in the slide also, waterfall is English literal meaning. Waterfall is a waterfall which is water flowing downward in a sequential fashion. And if you see the diagram of waterfall software development model, you can see the major 6 activities that are happening is first of all gathering the requirements, which is followed by the analysis phase, then design phase, coding, testing, and finally the maintenance. So here we have clubbed the feasibility and analysis into one, and we have seen that whatever is the output coming from the first phase is fed as input to the next phase and so on so forth. So this particular model advocates that activities are occurring for developing software in a very sequential and linear model. Now there are certain advantages. Firstly, that the model is conceptually very simple. It cleanly divides the problem into distinct phases that can be performed independently. So it is very natural approach for problem solving also, that first of all we gather the requirements from the user, then we do an analysis of all those gathered information and we just filter out whatever is of our importance. Then we prepare the logical design and architecture of the solution. We call it design phase. Then we go for the development part where we do the coding, testing, and then the deployment part where we train the user and deploy our product, and then followed by the maintenance phase. So this is a natural approach for problem solving as well. It is supporting the waterfall model. This is also easy to administer in a contractual setup because each phase is a milestone. So if analysis phase is completed, we know that it has to give in result the software requirement specification document. If the design phase is completed, the milestone is that it has to produce the software design document. Similarly, all other phases will lead to one product or the other. So it is easy to manage it because each phase will act as a milestone. But there are certain disadvantages also as far as waterfall model is concerned for software development. The most important limitation is that it assumes that requirements can be specified. So user will give the requirements and they will be freezed very early. Before we start anything else, the requirements are freezed. So it may fix hardware and other technologies too early, because by the time we are developing a large software product, new hardware, new technologies may also emerge. Now, in waterfall process model, what is happening basically is that it is following a big bang approach. Now, what is this big bang approach? It means that everything will be delivered or nothing will be delivered. So, technically saying, waterfall model is a risky process model for software development, and it is good only for being simple and only for those applications where requirements are not changing much, hardware and other environmental factors are not evolving much. So for a limited set of application, waterfall model can survive, and it is very document oriented, so requiring document at each end of each phase. Although we have taken it as an advantage also that it is easy to administer because every phase is acting as a milestone, but then of course we have to collect the documents as well. For every phase there are a lot many documents which are to be required. So now applicability, it is very widely used. In the past, it is well suited for projects where requirements can be understood easily and technology decisions are easy. Also, waterfall process model for software development is a good option for familiar type of projects. So it still may be the most optimum one. Now the next model in the series is the prototyping process model. Now as the name is suggesting, prototyping. Earlier in waterfall model we have found that the major problem was focusing on the requirements being frozen at very early stage. So there was this concept that the requirements will never be met because requirements are taken too early, and by the time the product will be delivered, requirements will be changing. So prototyping addresses this particular requirement specific limitation of waterfall. We have to understand this thing first of all, that the prototyping process model is introduced to address the requirement specification limitation of the waterfall model. So what is happening in this prototyping model? Instead of freezing requirements only by discussions or some questionnaire, a prototype is built. Means a small model is built to understand the requirements. It helps to reduce the risk involved in the requirement specification. So all you can say is that the first phase of requirement system requirement phase is now converted into a small waterfall model only. We will see this in a diagram of fall and you will understand. Now see. So primarily we are taking only 4 phases here. First is the analysis phase where we are making a prototype of the requirements. So it is going through analysis, design, code, testing, and this prototype will result in requirements which are much more robust, leading to design, code, testing, and then of course there is this delivery and the maintenance. So this is the diagrammatic view of prototyping process model. So how it works? It starts with initial requirements. Only key features which need better understanding, they are included in the prototype. No point including those features that are well understood will be included in the prototype. Only those features will be included in the prototype which need better understanding. Then feedback from user is taken to improve the understanding of the requirements, and once the requirement prototype is successful, then only we move to stage 2, that is design phase of software development. So our requirement analysis phase is elaborated and a prototype of requirement is devised, just replacing the previous software requirement specification document as in the case of waterfall model. So prototyping process model has a concern of cost because we have elaborated the requirement analysis phase a lot. But still cost can be kept low, build only features that need clarification, quick and dirty, quality not important, scripting etc. can be used, but you have to quickly go through all the requirements, prepare their design, testing, coding, and then you have to finalize the requirement. This is not the exact code that we are making, so we can just do it quickly and without much hula hoop. Things like exception handling, recovery, standards, all these things can be omitted. When we are developing a prototype, we are not developing the prototype of the system. We have to keep in mind we are only developing the prototype of the requirements. So we can quickly do it, omitting the unnecessary details just for the sake of reduction in the cost. So learning in prototype building will help in building beside improve requirements. Now next is development of prototype. So one important thing whenever we are talking of prototyping process model is that we have to keep it in connection with the waterfall model. We have to compare both waterfall model and the prototyping model closely, comparing their advantages and limitations. And learning in prototype building is otherwise also a very effective work because ultimately we are building a software. So advantages, because we have put so much input in our requirement phase, so definitely the requirements will be more stable, and experience helps in making the main development also. Disadvantage is of course the cost that is involved, the cost factor and the schedule factor, because too much time would be needed for designing a prototype for the requirements. So applicability is definitely, it's a very popular process model for a system where requirements are hard to predict and confidence in requirements is very low. So if your system is of the type where the user is not able to, give a proper requirement guideline, or if a system is inherently of the type where the requirements are not well understood, then prototyping process model is a popular choice. Now let us summarize what we have done so far because we are almost toward the mid of our lecture. So waterfall process model is simple. We know it's easy to execute. It is intuitive because it is going sequential, it is logical, and it is easy to administer also. So it is easy contractually also. Now weakness is that it is risky. Either everything or nothing. We have done this. And requirements, they are frozen too early. So because requirements, whether software or hardware, is done at the first stage only, so we may choose outdated hardware or technology, and it discourages changes. But if we talk about software products that are built in 2020, then definitely we will not take waterfall as a popular choice because we are working in a very dynamic environment and we are working with products which are very demanding and they are very uh, prone to changes, frequent changes. So but waterfall model, unfortunately, it discourages changes because it has to freeze everything in the first phase and then proceed, and no feedback is there from the user. Only the user comes into picture when the requirements are to be given in the first stage, and in the last stage when the training part is given after deployment of the product. So in the mid, throughout all the phases, all the activities of software development, there is no user, no feedback from the user. This is the main weakness. But it is applicable to the projects which are well understood, which are short duration projects. Automation of existing manual system could be one possible popular example where waterfall process model is used. Now coming to the summary of prototyping process model. It helps requirement elicitations. It helps that requirements can change. So because a whole prototype will be made over it, and it reduces the risk, and whatever requirement specification are delivered, they are better, they are more robust, and definitely the stable final system is the result. So weakness is that the front is heavy because the first stage is very elaborative. We are preparing a prototype for requirements. That means it is high cost and schedule is also high, but it encourages requirements bloating. If the requirements are changing, it will be well taken care of during the prototype development. But of course it disallows later changes, because once the prototype of requirement is through, we quickly shift to the design phase, testing, coding, testing, and then deployment, and it will go in the same series of SDLC, and again there will be no user involved here till the training is there. So these are some limitations. And types of projects will be those where system have those users which are not in a position to tell their requirement, or areas where the requirement is basically stochastic in nature, means the requirement is not predictable, it is not certain. So heavy reporting based system can benefit from user interface prototype. These are some examples where prototyping process model can be finding its usability. Then we have evolutionary process model. So there are two types of evolutionary process model. As the name is suggesting, we are talking about evolution, means we develop one product and then we evolve into version 2. Then we get the feedback, we do changes, and we evolve into version 3. So this is a very popular technique for large systems, and there are two ways of doing this. First is called exploratory development, and second is called throwaway prototyping. These are two ways in which evolutionary process models work. So let us first focus on exploratory development. The objective is to work with customer and to evolve a final system from an initial outline specification. Okay, so it starts with well understood requirements, add new features as and when proposed by the customer. So once the product is delivered, it works in well knitted format with the customer, and it will keep on evolving the final system till customer is satisfied. That is why the name is evolutionary process model. Second way is the throwaway prototyping, where our objective is to understand the system requirement, start with poorly understood requirement to clarify what is really needed, make a poor system, take the feedback, evolve it. So this is another way of doing it. We call it throwaway prototyping. And you can see in diagram also, there is some outline description of the software project which is expected. Then there are some concurrent set of activities that are happening. Some analysis is done, some specifications taken, development is done, validation, and then an initial version is delivered. Then again some feedback will come and we will go back to specification. Again we will develop, we will validate, and then we will deliver next version. So intermediate versions will also keep on developing till we have a final go where specification, development, and validation lead to a model or a system which is satisfying the customer. So a final version will be delivered. So this is the evolutionary process model, and the key highlight of this model is the versions. because we will just develop one initial version and we will keep on evolving it, upgrading it. We'll have n number of intermediate versions and then we will have a final version of the software which is to be developed. Of course, there are some disadvantages as we can clearly see. First is lack of process visibility. We are not very clear about in what order activities are taking place, and the systems are often poorly structured. So, and of course, if you are making n number of versions, you have to, you have to be skilled with languages which are supporting rapid prototyping, because you cannot take large time to keep on evolving the versions, because there is a time schedule also which is to be followed for developing the software. So disadvantages clearly is that the process visibility is missing here, system is poorly structured, and of course you need to be more skilled because we have to do rapid prototyping, because we have to develop n versions till we reach the final version. Now, of course, we will talk about the applicability also for small and medium sized interactive systems, because here the focus is that the customer is totally connected, which was missing in the earlier two models that we have done, the waterfall and the prototyping. That here now what is happening is that the system is quite interactive and the user is giving inputs, and on the basis of those inputs or the specifications, again and again your system is being developed and versions are being created, and this is workable. This theory is workable for short lifetime systems. Now this brings us to the last process model, which is the spiral process model. Now, as the name is suggesting, spiral process model is like a coil of activities. Spiral everybody has seen, it's a spring-like structure. Now, process in this particular model is represented as a spiral rather than as a sequence of activities. And another key element of spiral process model is the backtracking. Earlier we have seen, whichever model you must take, we have seen that there is some sequence of activities. Everybody know it is analysis and design and then coding and then testing. Right? In first model, it was purely sequential. In second model, when we were talking of prototyping, again the sequence was there, only difference was that the requirement phase or the analysis phase was elaborated into the formation of a prototype. Now, in the evolutionary model, we have seen again activities were sequential, that you are taking specification, you are developing the system, testing and then delivering. Version 1. Then there is some input from the customer. Again you go redevelop it. But again the process was same, that there was specification, design, coding, testing. Now in this case, this spiral process model is basically developed with the objective to take the risk into consideration. This process model had a sole objective of taking the plus point of all the previous process models, whatever advantages they were giving, and also covering doing an exhaustive risk analysis. Now, what is the difference between previous sequence like waterfall? You have imagined also in your mind something flowing from top to bottom in a series of activities were happening. In series of SDLC lecture also we have seen that series of activities were happening in a sequential manner whenever we were developing a software. But here what is happening, here each loop in the spiral, it represents a phase in the process. Like you have analysis phase, design phase, coding phase, testing phase. So each one loop, suppose your spiral has 8 loops, so we have each loop representing a phase in the process, and no fixed phases such as specification, design, there are overlapped activities. So loops in the spiral are chosen depending on what is required, and plus the major focus in spiral process model is that the risks are explicitly assessed and they are resolved throughout the process. You don't have to wait till coding and testing is completed and then you do the risk analysis. Risks are continuously accessed and resolved throughout this process. So this is the main advantage also of the spiral process model. Now diagrammatically, if you see that there is this is one spiral. This is one spiral. Okay, so it lead to prototype 1, then the next spiral lead to prototype 2. You have software requirement. In next coil you can see product design, and then we have the detailed design, and then code, unit test, integration testing, acceptance testing, service. So what is happening here, in each phase we are doing, we are taking the software requirement, there is a requirement validation, there is a development plan, and there is a risk analysis. Then you go to prototype 2. Okay, then we have the product design, we have design verification and validation, we have integration and test plan, and then we reach another prototype after the risk analysis. Okay, then we have a detailed design, we do coding, testing, integration testing, acceptance testing, and finally where we lead after risk analysis, we lead the operational prototype which you can submit. So what we are doing, we are evaluating the alternatives, we are identifying and resolving risk throughout. In every coil you can see there is a risk analysis. Okay, so this is the beauty of spiral process model, that every single spiral is representing a phase and its range of option allows it to accommodate the best features of existing software process model, while its risk-driven approach helps it to avoid most of the difficulties that we have found in the earlier process models. Right? So, spiral process model becomes equivalent to one of the existing process model in appropriate situation. In other situation, it provides guidance on the best mix of existing approaches to be applied. Now, the spiral model can be used with a spectrum of methodologies, whether they are specification oriented, process oriented, object oriented. So, you can see there are many advantages to spiral process model. Now, if we talk about objective setting, specific objectives for the phase are identified. Risk assessment and reduction, this is again a major element of spiral process, which says that risks are assessed and activities put in place. We are just trying to resolve the risk in every coil, every spiral. And then the development model for the system is chosen, which can be any of the generic model. Planning part is so elaborate that the project is reviewed and then the next phase of the spiral is planned again. So these are all advantages of the spiral process model, and this brings us to the end of the lecture, which was the software development process model. Now we will also discuss as usual some important questions that will give you some direction to prepare this particular topic for evaluation purposes also. So one important question is that what are the features, advantages and limitations of various different software development process model. Another question which can come is that you may be asked to elaborate on applicability of various software development process model, means which application, you have to give a real life example that which application will be well suited for a particular kind of category of software development process model. Now there is one more very important question where you can be asked to discuss a model and compare it. For example, you can be asked to compare and contrast features of waterfall and spiral model, or maybe evolutionary and prototyping model. So one thing is for sure that you have to thoroughly do the features, advantages, disadvantages, diagram and applicability of these 4 software development process model that is there in this particular syllabus. That you have to start with the traditional one, which is of course the waterfall model. Then you have to elaborate on the prototyping model, because prototyping model come because of the major disadvantage of waterfall, that requirements are frozen very early. After prototyping we have evolutionary model, which is again a very good model for software development and dynamic applications. And then finally we have the spiral. process model, which has the plus points of all the earlier process models, right? And along with that, we have a continuous risk assessment and resolving feature. So that accounts to the advantage. So with this, thank you so much, students, and happy studying.
Okay, so now we have a question bank prepared just for your preparation, and the topic is software development process model. Although in presentation also we have discussed some major questions which will help you to direct your study, how to prepare this topic, right? So it will be acting as a guideline for you. So first question in this is that you may be asked to compare and contrast features and working of waterfall model, right? So whatever features are there, what is the working of waterfall model, it could come for any other model also, and you have to do it in comparison to any other model of your choice. For example, you want to compare what are the main features of waterfall model, you want to give a comparison, so you can take any model of your choice. You can compare it with prototype model, evolutionary model, or spiral model. Next is you may be asked to just highlight the advantages and limitation of a particular software development process model. Like for example, I have given here that you have to highlight advantages and limitations of spiral model. Any of the 4 models that are mentioned in your syllabus, you have to prepare it thoroughly, features, working, advantages, limitation of each process model. And as shown in question 1, you may be asked to compare the features and working of between 2 or 3 software development process models. Next question could be that you could be asked about the applications of a particular model, right? So you have to tell that what is a particular application in which waterfall model suits, right? Or some application of evolutionary model or any other model. Then simply you may be asked to discuss the working of prototype model. And in objective questions, you can be asked to list major software development process models. So with this, these are just some questions which can help you to study. Keep exploring, go back, revise this presentation again and discuss these questions with your teachers. Good luck.